announcement today was total BS. It was a total bust. There was no announcement at all. Okay, it was one small thing. This was proof of life. One of the guys, I went live, one of the guys in the comments said this was proof of life. That's what it was. Trump did this today. He held this big announcement at 2 o'clock Eastern. What's he going to say? Is he going to step down? Oh my God. To show people he was okay. He was alive. He wasn't sick. All the conspiracies swirling in the last week aren't true. That's what this was. He literally announced today, my big announcement, I'm moving the Space Force headquarters to Huntsville, Alabama. Yeah? Why do I care about that? First of all, wasn't that public already? A, but B, who cares? And everyone fell for it. By the way, I'm a little embarrassed people fell for this. Oh my God, the big announcement, what's it going to be? I did a video. Thank God I did a video because I was right. This is what he does. He announces stuff that he's got a big thing coming up. The media, everyone joins in, and then it's bullshit. But again, interestingly, this was proof of life. Interestingly, all the conspiracy gossip of the last week got to him, and it bothered him, and it scared him, which suggests that those kind of concerns about his health actually work in terms of politically, in terms of getting to him, in terms of causing him harm. So just keep that in mind.
Donald Trump just had his press conference to reassure the American people that he's healthy. And while he's not dead, he's not on his deathbed, at least on appearance, he doesn't have any terminal illness. There were still some really interesting moments in this press conference that aren't great for Trump. For example, this is what he looked like, which is still not great. He just doesn't look healthy. I think anybody can see that. Also, a photographer managed to capture a photo of his hand, and the makeup in this image is just really caked on top. It looks like more makeup than usual, and you can kind of see the bruise peeking through. It looks like it's expanded and perhaps even gotten darker. Then Donald Trump took some questions from reporters. He was asked about the health rumors, and he said, I didn't see that. I did numerous shows and also did a number of truths, long truths, I think pretty poignant truths. I was very active over the weekend. According to Donald Trump, sitting at his Virginia golf club is very active. He then was asked about that video of people throwing trash bags outside of the White House window in the residence of the White House, and he said it was probably AI generated. And even after being shown the clip on somebody's phone, he still insisted it was AI. So no, Donald Trump is not about to pass away unless there's something that we don't know about, but still in this press conference, he looks off.
Here's a rundown of some of the things Dookie Booty talked about at his press conference today. So first off, he said that he is not dead. He is very much alive. And I may have to believe him on this one. Yeah, that's definitely Dookie Booty. First, he said that he didn't hear about the rumors about him being dead. And then he turned around and said he heard a little bit about people questioning his health and if he was okay, but didn't know that people were taking it to the extent of thinking that he was dead. He said it's fake news. Yeah, unfortunately, he is very much alive. He's beefing with Colorado. Supposedly, he's moving the Space Command Center from Colorado out to Alabama, which we don't care. They better take our sponge state status as well, because we don't want that. Dookie Booty just mad because our governor, Jared Polis, won't change our all-mail ballot system, which he hates so much. And despite a recent ruling that sending the troops to LA was unconstitutional and illegal, he still plans on sending the troops to Chicago. He's just waiting for Governor Pritzker to beg him to do so, like all of the black people in Chicago that he keeps talking about are begging him to come to Chicago and save them, that they need his help so bad.
Most of them were African American who were black, and they were saying, please, please, please let the president send it. These were people from Chicago. Please, we need help. We need help. We can't walk outside. We're petrified. If the governor of Illinois would call me up, I would love to do it.
Pritzker ain't about to ask you to do shit, Dookie. And you know that shit is illegal. He also confirmed the strike on the Venezuela-linked vessel. That vessel was supposedly linked to a narco-terrorist organization. He also said that over 600 military lawyers will be temporarily deployed as immigration judges to handle case backlogs. And we all know that a judge recently ruled that his tariffs were illegal. So now Dookie Booty is trying to put in an emergency appeal with the Supreme Court so that he can get that overturned. Because he just needs his tariffs. He don't know how they work. All he knows is that it makes him and his family a lot of money when he does it. Dookie Booty's scared that we're going to have to pay back trillions for these tariffs. He's hoping and praying that a Supreme Court judge is going to rule in his favor. Unfortunately, I didn't hear anybody ask him about the Epstein files or ask him about the Epstein victims that are going to be speaking out tomorrow at their own conference. And then they asked him about Putin and how he feels about China and India's leaders getting together and having a meeting. He instantly was irritated. And then, of course, brought up the meeting that they had. But ain't nothing came of that meeting. It's been how long? And you still ain't heard nothing? So he's expecting to get a call to be invited for a meeting since they're having meetings. But no, Dookie, they leaving you out. You're not involved in this. They don't want nothing to do with you. You're not invited. You can't come. So Dookie Booty is alive, still sick in the head, and on the same bullshit.
After hiding for days, Donald Trump has returned. And he's announced this ridiculous move of Space Force from Colorado to Alabama. But in the middle of all of this, he mentioned something about going after a ship from Venezuela.
What took place in Iran, knocking out potential nuclear power for a long time to come. I think within a month they would have had it if we didn't do what we did. But he gave us a little bit of a briefing, and you'll see. And there's more where that came from. We have a lot of drugs pouring into our country, coming in for a long time. And we just, these came out of Venezuela and coming out very heavily from Venezuela. A lot of things are coming out of Venezuela. So we took it out, and you'll get to see that after this meeting is over. Do you have any questions, please?
Yeah. Whatever happened to no new wars? Doesn't seem like we're not getting into no new wars with stuff like that. But then he also addresses the conspiracy theories about why he was missing.
About a big viral social media trend over the weekend. How did you find out over the weekend that you were dead? You see that?
No.
People didn't see it for a couple days. 1.3 million user engagements as of Saturday morning about your demise.
Really? I didn't see that. You know, I have heard, it's sort of crazy, but last week I did numerous news conferences, all successful. They went very well, like this is going very well. And then I didn't do any for 2 days, and they said, there must be something wrong with him. Biden wouldn't do them for months. You wouldn't see him. And nobody ever said there was ever anything wrong with him, and we know he wasn't in the greatest of shape. No, I heard that. I get reports. Now, you knew I did an interview that lasted for about an hour and a half with somebody, and everybody saw that was on one of your competitors. I did numerous shows and also did a number of truths, long truths, I think pretty poignant truths. No, I was very active over the weekend. They also knew I went out to visit some people at the club that I own, pretty nearby on the Potomac River. And no, I've been very active actually over the weekend. I didn't hear that one. That's pretty serious stuff. Well, it's fake news. You know, it's just it's so fake. That's why the media has so little credibility. I knew they were saying, like, is he okay? How's he feeling? What's wrong? I said, I just left. And it's also sort of a longer weekend, you know, it's Labor Day weekend. So I would say a lot of people know I was very active this Labor Day. I had heard that, but I didn't hear it to that extent. Go ahead, Peter.
Anyone that buys that, I got a bridge in Timbuktu to sell you. The man is sick. He's demented. Blaming the media when all he could have done, all he had to do was basically show up and prove to everybody that he was alive and well, and then to bring up President Joe Biden? What kind of sick stuff is this? See, I thought and I knew what was going to happen. Number one, I knew something may have been brewing about Venezuela and him, but I also know that this health thing that he's got going on, he will weaponize it and use it as soon as those Epstein files come out. He's not 100%, that's for sure, but I'm not buying that everything is okay and he was active this weekend. No. Gotta watch this guy.
So Donald Trump is back, rambling incoherently in front of the press after hiding from them for 7 days. In this clip, he says the stock market is down today because it needs tariffs. And if we get rid of tariffs, then we're going to become a third world country. Listen to this.
An expedited ruling because, when you look at the stock market's down today, the stock market's down because of that. Because the stock market needs the tariffs. They want the tariffs. If you took away tariffs, we could end up being a third world country. That's how big the rule is. So we're asking for.
What is he talking about? That's not how economics works at all. Tariffs are, of course, nothing more than a tax on the middle class. You tax the importer, then they pass the cost down to the consumers. This raises prices while slowing economic growth. Economists have repeatedly pointed out that Trump's tariffs hurt American manufacturers, farmers, and consumers. And the idea that the market wants tariffs is laughable. The stock market doesn't respond very well to uncertainty. Remember that massive crash that happened a couple of months ago when Trump announced his tariffs? That is proof. And under Biden, the economy saw consistent growth and a booming stock market without threatening other countries with radical tariffs. If you listen real closely, you can almost hear him confess. He said that without tariffs, we're going to become a third world country, but in reality, if we destroy our relationship with all of our allies and have no one else to trade with, that will make us a third world country.
So Trump's big announcement today, which was really just to show that he's alive still, ended up being some nonsense partisan stuff where he is moving U.S. Space Command from Colorado to Alabama. And you want to guess why? Because he claims that it's because Colorado went to mail-in voting, which means that they are automatically fake elections. Now, as a reminder, Donald Trump has actually voted himself via mail several times. So this is complete nonsense. He is just making a politically partisan decision because Alabama votes for him overwhelmingly and Colorado does not. And you know what? I think Democrats should do the same thing when they get back in power. I think they should take everything out of the states that receive more federal funds than they get and start to even the score so that states like New York and California, who pay billions and billions and billions more to the federal government than they return, I think we should stop doing that. And I think there should be some sort of law introduced that basically says that a state cannot send more than, like, let's say 5% more than they get back from the federal government, and let's even the score. So this is basically the flat tax that all Republicans seem to want. Well, let's just do it at the state level. So, you know, all of a sudden these welfare states like Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, they're going to have to start paying their fair share. It only seems fair, right? Right?
Donald Trump just addressed all the viral rumors that he's secretly in bad health and that he was being kept away over the weekend, and even addressed the viral rumors that he was dead. He was asked by a reporter if he'd seen the viral videos talking about the demise in his health, and the reporter brought up that there was videos with millions of views suggesting that he was dead. Donald Trump said he was aware that people were speculating about his health, but he didn't know that the accusations were that serious, and he called it fake news. He said, quote, that he didn't do conferences for a couple of days and people just assumed that something was wrong with him. He then added that Biden would disappear for months and nobody would ever say anything about him despite him, quote, not being in the best shape. Donald insisted that he actually had a very active weekend. He said he'd had a very active Labor Day weekend several times and insisted he'd been keeping himself busy over the weekend by visiting some people he knew at a nearby club that he owns. So there you go, guys. Donald Trump's aware of all the viral videos, but he insists he's alive and well.
Hey, so was Donald Trump in the Situation Room? Is that why he was late to the party today for his big announcement about Space Command moving from Colorado to Alabama? If you'll recall, just a little bit earlier today, well before this press conference, I stated my belief that he was going to announce that we were at war or at conflict with Venezuela. And some of you commented that, hey, the Associated Press has already confirmed it's just about Space Command moving. I get it. That was the main point of this press conference today. But he was almost an hour late in starting that. And then after they talked a lot about Space Command moving, there's this clip.
Gave us a little bit of a briefing, and you'll see. And there's more where that came from. We took it out, and you'll get to see that after this.
So right before this press conference took place, he received a briefing from the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff about a strike on a drug boat in Venezuela. All I'm here to say is that he did just basically soft launch that we just blew a Venezuelan boat out of the water, and more to come now.
President Donald Trump is now ordering federal law enforcement intervention into Baltimore and Chicago, despite the local opposition there. So we'll see. Will this escalate the violence? How are people going to react? I don't know. But according to the Associated Press and the reports, Donald Trump ordering federal law enforcement intervention, Baltimore, Chicago, 2 more American cities.
Did want to share this social media post from the Associated Press saying that the Pentagon has now authorized up to 6 600 military lawyers to serve as temporary immigration judges. That is according to a memo reviewed by the Associated Press. And I did want to share a little bit more information as you are taking a live look right there from the Washington, D.C. area. The very latest being that Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has approved sending up to 600 military lawyers to the Justice Department to serve as temporary immigration judges.
And I am thrilled to report that the U.S. Space Command headquarters will move to the beautiful locale of a place called Huntsville, Alabama, forever to be known from this point forward as Rocket City. Okay, so Huntsville, Alabama, we love Alabama. I only won it by about 47 points. I don't think that influenced my decision, though, right? That didn't, right? But we had a lot of competition for this, and Alabama's getting it. Huntsville in particular, so congratulations, everybody. Katie, congratulations.
Massive breaking news. Donald Trump just made his big Tuesday announcement, and it's that he's moving Space Command to Alabama. Who cares? Release the files.
Rocket City in Huntsville, Alabama. I haven't been this disappointed since Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Today I watched some of Trump's live news briefing at 2 p.m. And I tell you what, it is such a perfect example of what an incredible optimist I am. And then because of that, I am perpetually disappointed. So I tuned in because I was certain, like really hoping that the news briefing would be medical in nature, like they would share something that would really make my whole year. No, it wasn't. It was about how the U.S. Space Command is moving to Alabama. So disappointing. You know, another example of this is that I did not, by the way, win the like $1.1 billion Powerball lottery. I know. I was certain. I was so optimistic. Again, left so incredibly disappointed. You know what I mean?